The confrontation. The void between star systems had never felt so crowded. Admiral Voss Kareth stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dominion, flagship of the Galactic Empire's 7th Armada, 2,000 warships arranged in a crescent formation so vast it blotted out the light of 3 suns. 40 years of conquest had taught him that the universe responded to only one language: overwhelming force. On his forward screens, the human fleet drifted into view. 14 ships. 14. Each one battered, mismatched, and apparently held together by optimism and welding scars. One vessel appeared to be a repurposed cargo hauler. Another had what looked like a garden growing on its hull. Kareth allowed himself the smallest smile. Open a channel. The hail went out across every frequency, translated into every known language in the galaxy. Attention, human vessels. You have entered sovereign territory of the Galactic Empire. You will power down your drives, surrender your command codes, and prepare for assimilation. Resistance will be met with total annihilation. You have 60 of your seconds to comply. 60 seconds passed. Then 60 more. The response. What came back was not a surrender. It was laughter. Not polite, uncomfortable laughter. Not the nervous kind. It was deep, gasping, uncontrollable laughter, the sort that makes your ribs hurt. Several voices. Then more. Then what sounded like an entire crew losing their composure simultaneously. Communications Officer Drayle, a being with 4 ears specifically evolved for distinguishing emotional nuance, pulled off her headset. Admiral, they are laughing at us. Karetha's smile evaporated. Put it on speakers. The bridge of the Eternal Dominion filled with the sound of human hilarity. Someone on the other end was wheezing. Someone else was slapping a surface repeatedly. A third voice managed to gasp out the words, assimilation, oh no, please, before dissolving again. Finally, a single human voice steadied itself enough to speak. Rough, warm, completely unbothered. Sorry. Sorry. Give us a second. Okay. A breath. Which empire is this again? 3rd this month, yeah. The revelation. Captain Idris Malone of the Persistent Nuisance leaned back in her chair and wiped a tear from her eye. Her crew had good reason to laugh. 14 ships, yes. But 14 ships that had, in the last 18 months, talked the Varadi Collective into a trade agreement, accidentally befriended the Silence, a species that had not spoken to outsiders in 4 centuries. Negotiated 3 separate ceasefires between empires twice the size of this one, and on one memorable occasion, defeated an armada by filing administrative grievances until the attacking fleet's chain of command collapsed under the paperwork. Humans, it turned out, were not the galaxy's greatest warriors. They were its greatest nuisance. Pull up their file, Tomas, Idris said. Navigator Tomas Ferreira tapped his screen. Galactic Empire. Founded about 60 years ago. Aggressive expansion. Standard domination model. Ooh, they've got a decree of inevitable conquest. That's a new one. Do they have our file? He checked. Doesn't look like it. Idris nodded thoughtfully. That explained a lot. The negotiation. She opened the channel herself. Admiral, Kareth, is it? Love the fleet, very intimidating, genuinely. Here's our situation. We're not going to power down, and we're not going to surrender, and here's why. A pause, perfectly timed. Because the last 3 empires that tried this are now our trading partners, 2 of them by accident. The Dominion of Eternal Flame is currently hosting our cultural exchange students. The sovereign hive of Kelmara asked us to manage their foreign policy because, and I quote, you are too strange to be threatened and too stubborn to be killed. We are not a conquest. We are a headache. A permanent, recurring, weirdly charming headache. On the Eternal Dominion, no one spoke. Admiral Kareth stared at the 14 battered ships floating serenely before his 2,000-vessel armada. Something cold moved through him, not fear exactly. Something worse. Recognition. He had conquered species that screamed. Species that begged. Species that fled or fought or bargained desperately. He had never conquered a species that simply found him funny. "Get me their file," he said quietly. "Everything. Now." The agreement. It took 4 hours of negotiation, one shared meal transmitted via recipe across the comms channel, and a moment where Idris made Kareth laugh, genuinely, involuntarily laugh, by describing humanity's first contact with the Varati. The Armada stood down at dusk, by stellar reckoning. The Galactic Empire did not gain new subjects that day. It gained something it had never had before, and wasn't entirely sure what to do with. Neighbors.